Today is Thursday, July 24th, 2025, and it is Yom Revi'i, the fourth day of the week, 28 Tammuz, also can be referred to as Koach Tammuz, because it's Kaf Chet, and 5785, and the Parsha is Matot-Masei, and this is the PL-89 calendar. It's turning 13. It's having a bar mitzvah this Elul, late Av, Elul time. It was completed in the year 2012, which is the Hebrew year 5772. And that had a very special significance that I only understood many years later, because at the time I had no idea of what the 72 names of God are or were for me at the time. And this format that you see, the X and the Y, basically the columns and rows, the Shtiv era that you see here, that just means horizontal and vertical in the Hebrew. That you see here is the same format as 72 names, 8 times 9. This happens to be 8 times 10. So you see 80 boxes here, but just without this row, it's the same exact way the 72 names are lined up in the texts when you see them. So there's a counting system that it's a meditation that I meditate on the names, the 72 names of God, and focus on them each day and try to understand it. And when this started at the time, I had no idea about it. So I try to find a new thing each day. So this is the thing for today. Okay, first of all, it's a lunar and solar calendar. It's a calendar that holds the sun and the moon, and this is, interestingly, from Psalm, you guessed it, Psalm 72. Psalm 72 talks all about the idea of this calendar, is that Lifnei HaShemesh, Im HaShemesh, Lifnei Reach, Dor Dorim, Yinon Shemo. It was a psalm. It's a psalm that seems like a very unique and special psalm out of all the Psalms, because it is only in Psalm 72 that the last verse says, "This has completed the Psalms of King David, son of Jesse," something like that. This is the end of the Psalms. So even though it's 72, there's like another 70 more. There's 150 Psalms. So there's like 73 more. Right? That's 145. So anyway, there's more. There's a lot more left. So why is it that in Psalm 72, King David, or it's written, this is the completion of the Psalms of King David? Anyway, getting off a tangent, getting back onto track here. On this calendar, in this dispensation, we are in T4 and T8. Why? Because July 24th, today, is fourth day of the 10-day twilight period, short T4. What is the 10-day twilight period? The 10-day twilight period is the 10 days that you see 80 days here, and then another 10 days is under this that's invisible, but they are counted. They're like invisible days, and they have very special properties. It's like a twilight zone period. It's like we're moving into the next eon. We're moving to the next era, the next year. Now, based on Mercury, this is also called the Mercury calendar because it's based on a mercurial year. A mercurial year is roughly a quarter of our Earth years, which means that the orbit of Mercury around the Sun, according to published data, is 87.9691, etc. Basically 88 days, which is basically 90 days, basically 3 months. Basically a quarter of our Earth years is one whole mercurial year. So we go through a whole year 4 times in our year. And that's what this is meant to be. Each 90-day period, which is based on a verse in the Bible, I won't get into it right now, So I want to get to the point. And I often reiterate that those same things, but I want to get to the point now. Today is T4, and the Julian calendar would put us at box 3, and then T8, and the Julian formula is applied to that as well. So T8, which says 28 Tammuz, Kaf Chet of Tammuz, and the Julian calendar would put us at 37. This is a fascinating phenomenon, because the 72 names are, there's another meditation called the 72 names, and those are where the practitioner, in this case me, but anyone can do it, someone would meditate on one name per day, and that will complete a full, exact prophetic year. Why? A prophetic year, it's talked about in Scripture. You can see it from the passages in the Parsha of Noach, when it said he was, the boat, the ship was waiting for 5 months, and then it said 150 days. So if it's 5 months and it's 150 days, so a month is exactly 30 days, and a prophetic year, which means that 30 times 12 is 360. So it's not 365 like a solar year, and yet it's not 354 or 355 like a lunar year. It's right in the middle. There's something to that. That intrigues me, that a prophetic year is like a combination. It's like the average value of both the sun and the moon, which really speaks volumes if you can like read between the lines of what I'm saying. So basically, getting to the point. I got a couple more points to make. Okay, I better go fast. Okay, so the Julian day, based on the Julian, based on the Hebrew, will put you at 37. And in today's count, 72 count, the name is the seventh name, starting from the beginning. It goes from right to left. In English, it goes left to right, and in Hebrew, it goes left to right to left. And that puts us at the holy name of Aleph, Kaf Aleph. And there is one way of doing it where the verse in Exodus is like the first verse has 72 letters exactly, and all the verses have only 72 letters exactly. That's an amazing phenomenon in its own right. So you see 72 is really playing out. You're seeing like 72, Psalm 72, 72 letters, 72 is chesed, it's gematria. It's like you're really seeing, also 72 is the highest filling of the Yud and Hey and Vav Hey of the God's name is 72 is the highest. It's called the Shem Ayin Bet. So the Ayin Bet Shem and then the 72 names, it's all 72 is really prominent. So my point is that today, on the 28th, on T8, okay, which is the 28th day of Tammuz, the name that is counted, if you go according to every day of the year, starting from Rosh Hashanah this year, it's going to be Aleph, Kaf, Aleph, if you count it, because we started a new cycle just last week. And so, that has Aleph, Kaf, Aleph has a numerical value of 22. And then there's one where the verses go like straight, and then the second verse is reversed, and then the third verse is straight. That's how you form, and that's how you get this letter, Aleph, Kaf, Aleph, and all the other names too. But there's another way of doing it that the Kabbalists do, and they do it with, they do it all straight, because generally speaking, when something is reversed, it's like din, it's judgment, it's like harsh judgment, which is also a quality of God, but it's like the way I heard described by someone who studied it at the time, said that now these days we just need to appeal to the highest levels of mercy of God. So there's another way of writing this name where it's not reversed, it's all 3 verses are written forward, which is chesed, straight, and the acrostic is formulated based on that. If you do it that way, you get another name called Aleph Nun Aleph, and that has a value of 52. So my process is to take both of those names and to add them together and then to divide them by 2 to get the average value. So you really get like it's almost like what comes to mind is Tiferet. It's like a fusion of both Chesed and Gevurah, and you get the Tiferet. This is called a Tiferet average value. Tav. The Tav, that's a good one. Just came right now. Tiferet average value is called the Tav. That's the Tav. So today the Tav is 37. That's fascinating. That means that on this day, and the Julian calendar is on box 37, that's today, but the Tav is also 37. I don't think that's by accident at all. It's a mathematical precision at its finest. It's like today is the name is the same that matches the Julian, which is 13 days before today of the Hebrew. Okay, that's one idea I wanted to say. Another idea I wanted to say about 28, maybe I'll just stick on 28 for now because of time. If you look, I've explained this idea in previous videos and previous days, but if you look at all the columns, see the T numbers, which is where we are at the 10 day twilight, is where you make like a sikum, a summary, a review of all of them. And you total it all up and you take a review of everything that we've learned, we've gained in the past 3 months, which according to Mercury was a whole year. So if you saw 3 months ago as if it was a whole year, right now it's Rosh Hashanah time. We're about to go into Av. Now, Av is Rosh Hashanah in dispensation 2, but it wasn't always like that. There's different dispensations. Again, I won't go into that because that's going to take a long time. So basically, what I like to say is that if you made it this far, and I hope you did, but or not, whatever, I shouldn't be involved in it, but only to the point where I need to be. But basically, if you tally up all the numbers, if you analyze each column, you'll find that the 10-day twilight periods, say yesterday was 27, so you can find numbers here that add up to 27. And you can add up all these digits here and you'll get to say 26 yesterday. It doesn't work for 21, it doesn't work for 25. Because in column 1 for T1 and column 5 for T5 has no odd numbers. But all the other columns have odd numbers. But what's interesting is that some columns, if you look at them, it only has like a few numbers, like 2 or 3 ways you can get that number. But 28, and I think this is where Miracos Dafyomi comes in. 28 is the column, which is today, which has by far the most combinations of numbers that you can get T8. I was looking over it this morning and I saw several of them. I might have missed some, but I'll show all the ones that I found, okay? In row 8, T8, you have 28, that's 28 plus 0, okay? You have 12, and you have 16, that makes 28. You have 40 and 12, meaning 40, you can do minus or plus. You can even do plus a couple of them, you can do a few operations. You can do plus, plus, and then minus, or you can do minus, minus, and then plus. Any one of those you can do. As long as you come up with 28 with certain digits, whether it's negative or positive, okay? So, okay, you have 20, wait a minute, 20 and 8, you have 20 and you have 8, you have 28, you have 12, you have 16, you have 40 and 12, you have 24 and 4, I'm sorry, yeah, 24 and 4, yeah, I think I said that. And 28, you have you have 36 and 8. 36 minus 8 is 28. You have, there's probably more of them. My point is that in Merkaz Daf Yomi, Alex Stefanski, he started at Avodah Zarah 28, and he made his Siyum Hashas recently. And it's remarkable that it was page 28. I mean, his whole thing was, it doesn't matter where you start in Shas. It doesn't matter where you are in Shas. You just go. It's a carousel. Go. Kedushin Daf 66, start from there. Brachas Daf Beis, Nida 63. Imagine you start Nida 63. Start on the last Daf of Shas. That'd be interesting. But anyway, wherever you are, that's where you start. It's infinite. Infinite. So, I'd like to connect the idea of, is there something, just, it's escaping me now, but please correct me if I'm not right. Every 28 years is a Birchas Hachama, the blessing of the sun. If it is, that should have something to do with this. So it's 28. If you look in Koheles, the times, ace this, ace that, to love, to not love, whatever, to live, to die, all these things are 28 times if you count them. And it has something to do with time. And the sun is very important because Birchas Hacham, I think, is once every 28 years. And the days of the week, bebop. 700 days of the week, bebop. Shout out for whoever would appreciate that. But anyway, so 28 is the number for today. I think it's just we're running out of time, so I'll stop it right here.